Everyone else is out trying to get somebody elected next Tuesday and worrying about the campaign ads. You're actually looking ahead, and that's great. And
we expect that we'll have some legislation drafted here in the next few weeks. We've got a 165 page plan again on the website. Over to the right, I don't know if you can scroll down. We may want to play with the look of that, but helpful links, there you go. Do you see that helpful links section's on the right, about a third of the way down? We've got a link there to our property tax elimination proposal, as well as that Pacific Research Institute study that I talked about. So these documents have been shared with various members of the legislature, and there it comes. It's 165 pages, so it takes takes a little bit to load sometimes as PDFs. But if you want detail about how, in fact, we can eliminate property tax in Texas and fund government, we're talking about a 7.5% statewide sales tax, not a statewide property tax as Senator Steve Ogden is now proposing. So I know that many people got excited. They thought there were some proposals. I don't know, in this area there were some propositions on the ballot having to do with property tax. It was kind of a bogus email that went around the state, and about that same time, that was bogus. Yeah. Senator Steve Ogden's call for a statewide property tax, that part's not bogus.
Not bogus. So believe really, that one.
That really is his view of how we need to be funding schools in Texas. He would like to see a new property tax. Recognize your property tax today is just a local tax. It's a school district tax, a city, a county tax, but we don't have a state property tax. If it were up to state senator, Republican, conservative, Steve Ogden, who is chair of the Senate Finance Committee, we will have a new statewide residential property tax to fund schools.
Okay.
That is a beast that has to be slain before it gets any traction. And in order to do that, Texans are going to have to make their voices heard.
There's going to be a lot of those entrenched up in Austin that are going to be fighting against that, and to keep everything the way it is, to keep their power, I would assume.
Well, I think that this first article that's up there right now, the property tax elimination, with the picture of Talmadge Heflin, one of our bloggers actually watched the testimony before that committee, watched testimony from the member of the Texas Education Agency, and the members of the committee were nodding, yes, you need more money, and yes, we need a statewide property tax, until Talmadge took the microphone, and then he began to talk about the importance of private property and the ability to eliminate the property tax, and according to this blogger at least, was able to sway some members of the committee back to center. But you will find a lot of gullibility, and when someone who says they're Republican advocates for more spending, the other Republicans tend to nod their head and go along. And unless we as grassroots activists are discerning and say, no, well, wait a minute, just because you're Republican doesn't mean you get to grow government. Cut government, limit it, keep it local, but most of all, secure private property. Give us that. We've said that, haven't we, that government starts locally. These individuals that are in Washington and in Austin, Texas, who are spending our money willy-nilly, didn't just show up there. They started frequently in city council member chairs, or in county commissioner court chairs, or in school board member chairs, where they learned that they could spend, and they could tax, and they could do good. There's nothing wrong with doing good, but it's not the government's job to do good. The government's job is to ensure justice. It's not to do good. That's for churches and individuals and civic groups to do good. And you do all the good you want to do, but you do it with the money that's in your pocket. Don't be sticking your hand in mine and taking my hard-earned resources and then doing your good with them. And I think folks in government often forget that. I'm encouraged to see local people stepping up. I'd like to share, because we had similar experience in Wharton County a number of years ago, and while we beat up on the Texas Association of Counties, for those that are really beginning to study government at the local level, very important to do that. Texas Association of Counties actually does have something of value for us. They have a utility on their website where you can find other counties in the state that are statistically comparable to your own. And it becomes kind of a way to maybe look at what other counties that have your population, your crime rate, your level of education, your amount of roads, what are they doing? And are there things that we can learn from them? Are we comparable to them? Are we spending more? Are we spending less? Not that any one of those counties would be perfect and any one of them would be, you know, a well-run organization, because I think we see a lot of misuse of funds in all areas of government, but certainly it gives us some information with which to kind of evaluate how are we doing in relationship to others who are facing the same sorts of needs that our county is facing.
And what was that organization again?
Texas Association of Counties.
Okay.
And so I think it's tacprobably.org, or Google Texas Association of Counties, and then they have a utility on that site where you can compare, you can identify other counties in your in the state of Texas that would be comparable to Hays County. Maybe we can find that and get that back for folks. Texas Association
I'll put
of
it up
Counties.
I'll put it up a little later. I don't have all my technical help tonight.
Okay.
Wolf is off tonight, but so we'll come back and we'll put that up, because I do want people to bring that together. And if you have a question, if you'd like to talk to us tonight live, 512-754-0084. We'll be talking to Debra Medina for just a few more minutes here, for about 4 or 5 more minutes. And you know, so what over the next 6 months can we really do? Do you see? Because I know, you know, you kind of we've come off of running for governor, getting out there and making a difference, and it really did make a difference as part of the Tea Party, getting people involved and getting them there. And a lot of the work that you did, I think, is really responsible for a lot of the people going out to the polls, for the lines that we're seeing at early voting. I talked earlier this evening over in Buda, the lines at early voting that people were reporting 1 and 2 in the afternoon. We had, you know, it's a midterm election, and we still had about 600 students. I think we had good lines up there on the campus today, didn't we? And so, you know, people are involved. What do you see that happening next?
I think that we're at great risk of a couple of things. People have put a lot of time and energy into getting behind their preferred candidate, their preferred race, their preferred issue. You lose, you get dejected. You win, you think, oh, work's done. We won, and I've got a good guy in office, and now I can go back to minding the store, keep taking care of the kids and the family and the job. The reality is that power corrupts absolutely. And unless we are holding folks accountable, we're not going to get the kind of public policy that we want. I think a lot of our focus has been national, and those of us that have watched public policy pretty closely for a number of years recognize that it's local that has the greatest impact. We've got a caller, maybe?
We got a caller, so we're going to hold that. Hi, caller, and you are live, smtx.tv on We the People, speaking with Debra Medina. Who are we speaking with tonight?
Ann.
Ann, how are you tonight? And what question do you have for Miss Medina here with us?
Well, I know that you had asked, what can we do? Well, first I wanted to thank her for coming on. If you don't mind, I'd like to thank you. And I wouldn't have known about your program, but I guess an email reached me, and I'd like to. I know one thing we could do. We could pass this on, email this out to other friends. That every week, right? You have a show.
We do this every week at 7 o'clock, and yes, please send it out to the friends, but also let them know they can come to this site, and we will archive this, and you can see this 7/24. It's going to be up for everyone to view. So that's one of the nice things about what we do here.
I do have one question for Miss Medina. I was very disappointed that she, didn't go all the way, which I think there was a lot of people working against that. But I did want to ask, in Texas, why didn't she run again? Because I'm like, oh, where is she now? I mean, when you have a choice of picking the primaries, which she ran in, or like right now, I think anybody could have run. And I was just wondering why she didn't I just like to have a little clarity.
Why she
about that.
didn't go for a campaign as an independent for governor and keep going.
Yeah, and in Texas, actually, we're a primary state. So if you run in the primary and you're defeated, you're done. So I'm supposed to be knitting or something in the corner for the next few years. I'm not doing that. I'm certainly continuing to advocate for those issues that I believed in, but there's not a provision in Texas law. Some other states do allow the loser in a primary to come back as an independent, but in the same election cycle. But in Texas, we cannot. You can only seek one office at a time, and if you're defeated in the primary, then you are defeated for that cycle. So we'll come back, continue to stay engaged and fight for these issues in Texas. We're talking about what people can do, and I think
thank you for calling in.
There's a lot of focus on national stuff. I hope that shows like yours and others will begin to help Texans focus more on local issues as well. It's important to watch Washington, but it's more important to mind what's going on right in our own neighborhoods, right in our cities, right in our county, and right at our state level. And so, Ann, there's lots going on in East Texas at the local level, and then we need East Texans talking to their state reps and their state senators, because the girl from Houston calling the guy from Tyler doesn't work so well. But when people from Tyler and Lufkin call their state rep and have a conversation with him, and we're all doing our part around the state, we'll see these sorts of policies that we want enacted regardless of who the governor is.
Well, and that's one of the neat things that, we've been doing. This is now our 11th show here, and, this is... It's fun, but it's also, it's been a great way to bring the community together. That was our vision when we started, was we wanted different shows. We've been blessed to have a network here that's allowed us the freedom to bring in people. We've had about the food bank is having their Turkeys Tackling Hunger, and we had one of the members on the board is also our county commissioner, came down and talked with us. And again, here's our local politicians in another mode talking to us about how we can come together. We've talked to local activists. We have videos. If you have some local videos, some old stuff that you'd like for us to put on. We did a 1982 Just for Fun parade here in San Marcos, bringing things up. But that's what this is about. It's, and we'd love to see this with bringing people like we're doing with bringing people from Comal County over, and we start to share. And that's kind of another facet of the grassroots that I'm enjoying.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the founders understood that. They knew that there was wisdom in the minds of men. You've heard me say that over and over and over again. We don't elect, people don't put their family through a political campaign to become a school board member or a city council member or county commissioner to harm their community. Their intentions are good. But we have been so indoctrinated to this idea that government should provide rather than government should ensure justice that we see this insidious growth of government. And I think as we begin to talk about these issues as a community, then we understand that there are better ways, more appropriate ways to address the needs within our community and let the government do what the government's supposed to do.
And that's, I think we've been echoing that theme all through the show tonight, and that government needs to be where it belongs, and that the roles need to be, they're the sellers, we're the buyers, and we all have to come to an agreement on the sale and on the terms and conditions.
That's right.
And that's important. So, well, Debra, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
If I don't know what your schedule is, we're going to I'll stick around here in San Marcos after all the events are done tonight. We're going to round up down at the coffee house at Tantra. I had a friend got this for me for my birthday last week, and I had to pass it along. Liberty School Cabernet Sauvignon. So I will.
It's got to be great.
It's got to be good. It's a Liberty wine, and we're going to pop this at 9 o'clock. So if you'd like to stay around and join us, but we're going to thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming out. It's been a pleasure. Please come back. You can call in anytime. And for those of you that are watching tonight, yes, we're here every week, 8 to 9 on Thursday nights. Come on down and join us. And usually we're a little better on the Facebook, and you can send us some messages. I just am not that technically adept that I've got octopus arms here, but we're doing pretty good tonight.